right. Hello. And welcome to the Epic Stream. So, I'm CJ, and I'm going to be talking through my plays. Mostly I'm just going to be playing some games, and also I'll be maybe making a deck or two, like I usually do on stream. And so if you have any questions, I'll be in chat, and also if you want to challenge me, just send a challenge by going to the challenge page, typing in my name. I'll be mostly just playing quick matches in the meantime. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to start off with one of those. I think right now our deck that we're using is the one with Unbreakable Champions. A little bit unusual. We just made it at the end of the last stream, and we played one game with it. It's got a couple of cards like Drinker of Blood and Saren and Vampire Lord and Dark Knight, and all of these are unbreakable on your turn, which means that if you hi, how's it going, Cash? If you play a break all effect, then they'll stay in play, unlike your opponent's champions, hopefully, which is what the main goal of this deck is. So if we end up playing Matches of Constructed, that'll be the deck we use. And if we end up playing one or two games of Constructed, I'll mix it up and try building something different. Cash no mo. But otherwise, I'm just going to be playing whatever other people are playing. I did actually see kind of interesting deck idea that I might try. I played against someone that was playing cards like Soul Hunter, but they were just discarding them to maximum hand size. That could be kind of a fun idea. All right. Yeah, we're just oh yeah, and also this card is in our Unbreakables deck. Even though it's not a vampire, all of the vampires are unbreakable on your turn. Master Zoe becomes unbreakable whenever it attacks or blocks. So you can play it kind of like a combat trick. You usually play it to try and block one of the opponent's attacks. Master Zoe survives. On your turn, you can attack with Master Zoe, and then, just like this tip says, you can break all of your opponent's champions. Alright, well, I'm just going to fire up one of these then. Probably Dark Drift. And in the meantime, I'm going to just try putting together that deck I was talking about. So let's see. I might need to toss one of these. Let's toss. Let's just toss this one. I think I have multiple copies of it anyway. All right. Yeah, we'll do this one. All right. All right. I'm gonna go all the way down to my empty deck slot here. Yeah. You got exposed. Yeah, that was a very sad timeout. That's why we're going to make a deck and then come back to it. Let's see. Let's do. So here's the core, I think. So you really want in this deck Soul Hunter and cards like Soul Hunter that you want to discard to maximum hand size. So I think we're going to play Soul Hunter, and let's just. I wonder if there's a good way. I don't know if there's a filter for discardability. Maybe you may banish this card. Alright. Put Necrovirus in. So this card, if it's in the discard pile and you play an evil card, you can banish it to make 3 zombies. So we're going to play Necrovirus, and I'm not sure if we're going to be playing enough green for Smash and Burn, so we'll come back to that. And then from Sage, let's play Ancient Chant. So if this leaves your discard pile, you draw a card. It just fits our theme, I think. I don't know, I guess we're probably going to end up running Frantic Digging. And then let's just play all of the things that draw you 2 cards and do something else. Let's see, draw 2. So we have the Gudgeon, Crystal Golem. Maybe we could play. I mean, Rage and Trex is going to be pretty hard, I think, in this. It's probably going to end up being mostly evil. Maybe Erase. Or Erratic Research. Well, we definitely need some board clear. So let's, if this is going to end up being a slow deck, let's put in Angel of Death. And then let's just put in something that synergizes with Final Task, probably, since we have a lot of champions with a really good Enter the Battlefield effect. So we'll play Final Task and Necromancer Lord. And then I guess if we're playing Final Task and Necromancer Lord and we're Evil Sage, then we can also play Thought Plucker, which is a really good Final Task target, as well as Misguide Herald for the same reason. Alright, so right now we're at 30, so we have 10 more slots. We could play something like Winter Fairy, not a bad idea. Let's see. We could play something like Surprise Attack. We need off-turn plays though. Our deck is really, it's got Crystal Golem, Thought Plucker, but it really likes its on-turn plays. We also want more champions, I think. So maybe what we'll do is we'll play Lesson Learned and an off-turn champion. Maybe it could be, we don't care about if we get a lot of cards in our hand, but we can't use loyalties, really. Let's do Lesson Learned. We'll start with Lesson Learned. We might end up struggling to get rid of lots of champions. We'll put in, let's just go in Wild and we'll try out something like Surprise Attack plus. I mean, maybe we can try. Maybe Smash and Burn will be okay if we just end up getting it towards the end. Like we'll play Smash and Burn, and then later we'll use Surprise Attack or something, or another Smash and Burn. And I think, yeah. And then I think that since we don't have any 1-cost cards that efficiently deal with 0-cost cards, that makes cards like Flashfire a lot better. I think it's better to play over Wolfspite because we just don't have anything that deals with tokens aside from Angel of Death for our 1-cost cards, so I think we definitely want to do that. And then I'm gonna go, let's see, equal zeros. So I think this deck has enough evil 1 cost cards that we could play one copy of Plentiful Dead. I'm not sure if we want to have if we want to have multiples appear. Let's finish off our 1. So right now we're missing 4 1 cost cards. So I'm going to put in probably some other kind of board clear, or maybe a way to gain health. Alright, let's put in a way to gain health, and then a board clear. Let's play at least 1 off-turn board clear. So that'll be our 1 of as a surprise. And then let's see. I like to do the smaller freeze first because they're usually easier. We definitely need to. This is going to be more of a long game, and we're playing Zombie Apocalypse. So we want to have some kind of way to banish our opponent's entire discard pile. We could play Heinous Feast over Amnesia, but I think that Amnesia is a perfectly good choice here because we don't have any other recycles in the deck, so having a recycle here is going to be a nice slot. It's pretty much always going to recycle. And since we're drawing a lot of cards, we could play something like Citadel Scholar. Let's see, we could play probably Force Mage, Citadel Scholar, or Frantic Digging. I really do like Frantic Digging in this kind of deck. But I think maybe we'll just stick with the game plan and try and make the cards useful in hand. I don't think it's very likely Frantic Digging is going to be playable at 0 cards in hand, which is, like, we're not going to get to 0 cards in hand very often with this deck. And a lot of our cards are very redundant, so they do a lot of the same things, which means Frantic Digging won't be as useful as it would in a deck with a lot of silver bullets. So I'm just going to play Citadel Scholar here, I think. And then Evil. Let's go over to Evil. Alright, so now we just have to finish off these. So I really like Wither in a lot of Evil decks for the reason that it is better in the ones that are slow and more controlling, because it can deal with large swarms of champions for 0, so lots of tokens, and also sometimes you get value out of getting multiple champions with it. But I like the versatility that it offers. You can use it if you need to gain 3 health or as a combat trick. So think of it like a Go Wild, where you're making their champion smaller if you're having a block. And also you can take out multiple of the same 1 cost champion. Not necessarily take out, but sometimes you can shoot 2 Strafing Dragons or 2 Misguided Heralds just so that you don't take as much damage or to clear them. Praxis Curse is also reasonable, but I do like how Wither can take out things like Necromancer Lord. And then I'm going to go ahead and toss probably Consume in this deck because we're very slow. We don't have any real aggressive plays in this deck. There's no Blitz champions except for maybe Final Task, basically. So we're just going to, and I think that we need to be slow if we're going to try and play around Soul Hunter. So that means that we're just going to, we're going to want to gain more health. We're going to play, we could also play Heinous Feast. But, yeah, I mean, Heinous Feast is also reasonable. We might not be running enough champions for Misguided Herald, but we're going to make it work. And then, as far as the rest of these go, I think Word of Summoning would also be reasonable. I think I'm just going to run more Discard Banish, which means Guilt Demon, Corpse Monger, or Heinous Feast, which are all pretty reasonable. But, I mean, honestly, I've never really been disappointed with Guilt Demon in deck. I think it fits most decks reasonably, but it's never amazing. It's never an all-star for me. It's always just it fills the same role in most decks, which is it's annoying and versatile, but it doesn't actually give you any card advantage. And I guess we're missing 1, so let's just do a 1 of. How many evil cards do we have? Evil's like more than half of our deck, so we could probably run 1 Unquenchable Thirst here. Alright, let's do all this. I don't know. I'm not very creative with the deck names, to be honest. It's always a hard, yeah, sold. There we go. Alright, it's a bad joke. That's what we're calling it, though. Okay. Soldier? I like Soldier, though. Alright, well, we'll see how it does. Let me just put it in my first slot real quick here. Sold. We can call it that. Soldier? Soldier? Oh, soldier. Ah, I see. I see now. I see where it is. Alright. Soldier. I like it. I'm a fan of this soldier nonsense. Alright, we're going to try and do something ridiculous here. We're going to hope that the opponent doesn't play very aggressively. And also, they don't have very many threats. I think, what are we playing for removal in this deck? Just 3... There's what? 3 of the break a champion. Both players get a zombie. So that's... I forget the name of it, though. I always forget the name of that card. We also have 3 Angel Deaths and 1 Zombie Apocalypse. And 3 Drain Essences. So I guess that leaves us at 10 cards, which can break a champion. And we have some 0-cost cards that can do it. Like, maybe we want something like Reaper in this deck. But hey, I guess we're hoping that we just block with Soul Hunter a lot. Muse. I'm going to refill my water. Ooh. Oh, hey, it's not Ben. All right. Not Ben. All right. All right, so from this pack, I do like Haste Retreat. It's like a safety blanket. Very safe with it. I haven't taken Cave Troll early in a while, so maybe I should try that. One of those two, I think, is what I'm most excited about. Let's take... yeah, I'll take the Cave Troll. Let's try it out. It's been a while. Alright, so basically, Cave Troll, worst case, it's just a demon token, basically, for 0. It's a 5/3, which is better than a demon token, because if your opponent doesn't block it, it hits them for 5. Alright, so I'm going to take the Jungle Queen here. I think we're going to move into Wilds. It's a little tough. Let's see what I passed. I mean, my opponent's probably might go into Sage here. I'm just going to take the Medusa. Might end up going Evil Wild. That would be interesting. That's pretty exciting. There's a lot of good options here. I think Rescue Griffin is underrated, and Spine Demon's overrated. I mean, it is pretty good, but you just have to have an off-turn evil card to play there. Fire Spirit is also quite good with a wild deck. I I think I am going to go with the Rift Summoner here. Alright, it's paying off. We're getting a lot of evil cards altogether. Alright, I'm just going to take the draw 2 with an extra effect here. I don't really want Gold Dragon without any support for it, and I'm more excited about Urgent Messengers than Lurking Giant, because the 2 human tokens will usually gain you a lot of health, which you're more frequently going to want that small amount of block than, I mean, the Lurking Giant, if it drew 2 cards, would be amazing. But I like drawing cards, basically. Alright, so from here, we could try taking more matching. I'm not that excited about it. To be honest, you don't have a lot of cards. Demonic Rising might have been a better pick there. You should really highlight. Now if you're highlighted, if you have a card selected and time runs out, it just takes those for you. Probably going to be these 2. I mean, Demothere's actually pretty reasonable. It's a very big body and it's spread up over 4 champions. So you need to remove it somehow. But Lesson Learned's also just quite solid in decks without a lot of color going on, because you can use them to play your on-color events again. Alright, this is more exciting. It's probably Lightning Strike. I mean, I think Lightning Strike versus Second Wind, it's very close. Angel of Death is also very good, actually. I didn't even see that there. I was blinded by these 2. The thing is, Angel of Death, my opponent isn't going to be able to play because they're not heavy evil like I am. They've passed me Dark Assassin and Rift Summoner. So I'm just going to pass them the Angel of Death. Alright, well, probably going to be those 2. I mean, Rax's Curse is also very good. But Loyalty 2 effects are often extremely strong. And Raxa here, yeah, it's gonna, that 2 damage each opposing champion, I imagine, is going to be very relevant. I'm not taking very many zeros, so I might have needed that Raxa's Curse, but I'm going to take the Raxa. I'm probably going to take Muse here. I'm actually not really worried about our opponent getting Fumble. They can have it. I am worried about our opponent getting Muse. I think right now Lightning Strike's the only zero cost way I have to answer it. So we're going to take the Muse. Fumble is also very good, though, in this deck. It is strong without Loyalty. I was just considering Raxa versus Raxa's Curse. Alright, I think we're going to take both of these. They're both going to be good in our deck. Whereas the Banishment is reasonable. If you don't have a lot of removal and you need some more, then you can take that card, but it doesn't have the versatility of drawing 2. And you can't play it off turn. Pretty much, you never want to play this card off turn. Alright, so I don't have any board clear, so that might come back to bite me, but I am going to take this Thought Plucker because I don't have any good ways to answer here. I just Lightning Strike Enhancer below and Raxa. I don't really want to be paying a gold to remove it. Alright, so from here, probably going to be Noble Unicorn. Courageous Soul is also reasonable. It's a little difficult to. Sometimes you get blown out when you play Courageous Soul, and the payoff isn't always there. So when you play Courageous Soul without anything else attached to it, it's just a 4/2 basically, and a 2/2 when it blocks. Probably going to be a little spite here. Yep. We want more cards that remove small things. I think now we're good on removing small things. I wouldn't mind picking up more, but I will probably take this Force Mage Apprentice and this Apocalypse. I could take the Reaping Soul over the Force Mage Apprentice. That would also be reasonable. I mean, I'm just going to take the Apocalypse. I like Force Mage Apprentice a lot. I think I can fight over the board. I just have to play around the fact that right now I only have 1 board clear in my deck. From here, I feel like it has to be Sea Titan. Wither is also very good against us, so we might want to take the Wither. In fact, a lot of these cards are good against us. I have so many targets for Wither. Force Mage, Thought Plucker, Muse. But Sea Titan will be difficult to remove. Alright. I'm going to take the Final Task, I think. I have good targets for Final Task. I have Thought Plucker, Raxa, Medusa, Rift Summoner, Dark Assassin, and whatever is in the opponent's discard pile. And Temporal Shift. Probably Temporal Shift. Feeding Frenzy could also be good, but not that much small damage. I'd rather get some more off-turn plays for my golds. I do have a lot right now, actually, but I don't have a lot of hard removal. Temporal Shift is basically hard removal. It doesn't work against things with really annoying enter the battlefield effects, but you don't usually want to hard remove those. Alright. I'm just going to take this draw too. Nothing really exciting going on there. Alright, so from this pack, it's probably going to be those two on the left. Turn, I can't really see myself using Turn or Veldin to do anything. I mean, Turn maybe. It's pretty risky though. Alright. Pick up some Graveyard Banishment here. We don't have any Graveyard Banishment, so I am going to take the Erratic Research. Just to get some Graveyard Banishment in the deck. In the event, especially these past couple of games, I've been really punished for it. I think my opponent was on, in the past 2 or 3 games that I've streamed, the opponent just immediately got I'm trying to even think what it was. Now, is it the Gudgeon or Knight of Shadows? This is an interesting question. I think it's Knight of Shadows. It's just more of a threat. This is a question now. Alright, I'm going first. So what's really interesting is Noble Unicorn isn't that crazy in this deck. I think the only thing, it only triggers off of Secret Legion and Urgent Messengers. But if I hold on to Urgent Messengers with it, it's a lot better. So I'm going to just toss this Dark Assassin, keep the rest, and pass immediately. I mean, as far as on-turn plays go, I pretty much only want Raxa or Knight of Shadows. That's this one. I guess there's also Jungle Queen. And some zero cost cards. This deck is a very slow deck. I'm going to be playing this differently than some of the other games that I've played. Probably the slowest deck that I've drafted on stream. Wow, I got third. These are the only good cards in this deck. The only good 1-cost cards. Yeah, the only good cards altogether. Alright. What's really interesting about Noble Unicorn in Dark Draft, is that your opponent will usually think it's much scarier than it is. So every time you play a good card, you get to draw another card. So you can play this and you can draw 5 or 6 cards off of it if you are good heavy. A lot of the time though, people are not good heavy. So if in this deck, this card is almost always just going to be an ambush tribute, draw a single card. However, in this case, it's going to I'm going to play this immediately before passing. So normally I wouldn't usually try to spend my gold first, but I am here because what I really want is for my opponent to think this is really scary. And I only have, I don't have that many good cards in my deck. So the Secret Legion is the only other card that I could play that would activate this drop card in my entire deck. Now I do have more than 7 cards in hand here, but my opponent's gold hasn't been spent. So if Not Ben played that for, if Not Ben didn't play anything here, so I would have to discard a card, but he also wouldn't get a play to make. So I'm going to attack for 6. We're going to see, maybe my opponent plays around Brave Squire and just takes the 6. If they don't, then I'll just Lightning Strike. Alright, that's fine. We're going to finish that off with a Lightning Strike. And then, given the state of things, I think I'm also going to toss down a Little Devil and get in with the Little Devil. 2 human tokens isn't really a threat on the board, so I can add something to it now. So that Gold Dragon, that Noble Unicorn was quite good for us. It was a 6/6 ambush that drew 2 cards, and the opponent was able to take down this other champion with the help of Lightning Strike. All right, so off turn we've got some options. It's a good chance of playing this Rift Summoner, revealing both these two other evil cards to break a human token and make 2 demon tokens, so plus the loyalty 2 demon token. This card's very strong if you have a human token in play because you can break the human token and you can make 3 demon tokens. And we have that set up right now. Alright, so 3 demon tokens. The real question is how... I'm not going to risk it. I could toss the demon tokens in the way, which would be pretty reasonable here, but this temporal shift is so good in this situation, so I'm just going to use it right now. This is a great example of a time where temporal shift is quite strong. So the opponent played Great Horned Lizard and attacked. So they spent their on-turn gold, and then I spent my on-turn gold to play temporal shift. So temporal shift returned it to hand. So basically we both traded gold, but temporal shift draws a card back, and they get the Great Horned Lizard back to hand, but they also have to banish a card in their hand. So we both spend our gold, but my opponent goes down 1 card. And they spent their on-turn gold and I spent my off-turn gold. So this is an example of a time when bounce is really strong, is when you can use it on a champion that doesn't have any kind of tribute. I'm going to play this Word of Summoning right now, and I get to recycle. This is a card I drew off the temporal shift. So I have a Lessons Learned. So I'm just going to leave my 2 1-cost events in my discard pile because I can replay one of them later. Word of Summoning is also a very versatile card. If you're drafting and you see this card, you can play it in pretty much any deck. It's great in that it's an off-turn play, and it gives you a body, so you can use it to chump a big attack or to give you some threat on the board. Alright, so let's attack the demon token first. Now, when I attack with different champions in different orders, there's almost no relevance to the order. Whenever you attack in a specific order, you're really just playing around certain cards. And when I say that, I mean when you have champions and your opponent has no champions in play. So in this case, I'm playing around Ceasefire, which is a little bit. Anything that makes it so my other champions can't attack will not affect the first champion I attack with, so I usually attack with my biggest one. Alright, looks like they're going to play Brand. Don't really have a punish for that, so just going to eat the demon token. This is an example of a time where Rax would be really good because it would remove that, and I'd also get the two demon tokens. But Rax's Curse would also be very good. And we're going to attack with the Little Devil here. Now I am going to try and set up this Rax's Enforcer to clear my opponent's board. So hopefully they play something else here, like an Angel of the Gate. Alright, looks like they did not fall for it. That's fine though. I'm going to get with these humans, and then we're just going to pass. I'm going to let them have that 2/5. It's not going to be very relevant because we don't have a lot of big champions in this deck. So the 2/5 is going to make attacking with these humans annoying, but it's not actually going to affect our game plan very much. A lot of the time, in this case, I'm passing without spending my gold because I would consider myself to be ahead on board and also ahead in terms of number of cards in hand and health. So those are the main metrics that you can use to see which player is ahead. And basically, if we both kept attacking each other every turn, I would eventually deal not ban with my 4 offense airborne champion, and then he could either attack me for 2 and I could attack him back for 2 each turn, or he could not attack with that and then block one of my human tokens. So I would choose not to attack with the humans, and I'd just be hitting him for 4 over and over again. This is a very small clock though. Like if I didn't have these humans, I might even play something else, but 6 is, you can't really ignore 6, and it does take him down in 4 turns if he does nothing about it. Alright, so he's just going to play a Rampaging Ornament attack. This is again a very risky play. So he did banish a card, so he may have banished that the dinosaur from earlier. We don't get to see what it is, but I'm just going to punish this again by replaying my temporal shift. I don't want to play into a rage or something like that. I think it's actually somewhat likely that they have a rage in hand, since they're making that play. Or a lash, something that gives their champion breakthrough for 0. So I'm expecting right now that Not Ben has a rage or a lash in hand, along with Rampaging Worm. He probably put the card that he attacked with first on the bottom of his deck. That's why I decided to do a temporal shift over replaying the urgent messengers. Alright, still not Ben's turn. But both of our gold are spent. I've really been getting a lot out of this. What's it called? This temporal shift. Quite glad that I picked it up. I remember I was just deciding between temporal shift and a 0 cost card that was okay in the deck, but it wasn't glorious. So we are going to get in for 6 here, and we have 8 cards in hand, so I'll play this Cave Troll out and probably pass. Alright, so Helion is going to come down, revealing Ogre Mercenary and Blue Dragon. Alright, so it just takes this for the turn. So I should also spend my gold. I think I'm just going to Drain Essence that to get it out of the way, and then also attack with these human tokens. In general, in this deck, like I was talking about earlier, this card pool that I'm playing with is very reactive. So a lot of my cards are stronger if the opponent acts, which is one of the things that makes Little Devil really good in this deck, is if the opponent can't remove it for 0, then I can punish them almost always, not by playing a Blitz champion, but if they try to play an Ambush champion to block. If they played a Blitz champion, then this deck would, if you just played a card that got rid of it for gold, then this deck would pretty much have no way to punish them for that. I don't think it has a single Blitz champion. It has Final Task. And I guess Secret Legion could make 6 blitzing human tokens. Alright, they're gonna play, they also have Blue Dragon in hand. So they might Blue Dragon one of these human tokens. Probably what I would do in their situation. Yeah, that would be nice. This is Blue Dragon, but I agree with what you're saying. Alright, I'm going to probably just Thought Plucker them here. And yeah, I could make some Demon tokens, but that Kong makes things a little awkward. This is a great time to Thought Plucker. You want to play Thought Plucker and Ambush champions like Thought Plucker that your opponent doesn't want to stick around when your opponent's gold is down. So my opponent spent their gold. They can't actually attack me, so I'm not under a threat if I spend my gold to play this, and it doesn't affect attacks at all. And then I can immediately attack with it. They discarded Soul Hunter, which is funnily what I was just talking about in the constructed deck. But this card, when it is in your discard pile, at the start of your turn, it comes back into play. So in other words, they discarded it. It's actually good for them that it was discarded because now they don't have to play it. So Hasty Retreat returns that to my hand and I draw a card. So basically, it was like Thought Plucker hit them and they discarded Hasty Retreat and I drew a card, except that Thought Plucker's not on the board anymore. So that is good for them. 5, 6, 7. We have a lot of cards in hand, but not really anything to do with them. So it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can do 13 damage to Kong. if I group attack with all three of these and Kong blocks. But that isn't going to do it. I think what I'm going to do is attack with Cave Troll first, see what happens, and then Jungle Queen, return Cave Troll to hand, and then replay Cave Troll, and maybe attack with these human tokens. I don't need to Jungle Queen return, I don't need to return these human tokens to hand. Sorry, I don't need to attack with these human tokens necessarily, but there is a possibility that it could happen. Alright. Yeah, I'm not going to. Just gonna get that back, replay it, and probably toss down 2 zombie tokens with this, and then discard a Secret Legion. No, I could, but it basically expends to banish a champion from a discard pile, so we would have to use it. Oh, I didn't even realize my opponent hadn't spent their gold. Sometimes I forget. Alright, I wouldn't have played the Cave Troll there. I would have just passed with the Cave Troll in my hand. Alright, so I'm just going to pass and discard the Secret Legion. Yeah. There's actually a decent chance I'll be apocalypsing next turn. We're gonna see what happens. What I would really like to get is this Erratic Research, which with 4 cards banished, what, 6, 12? That means I have a 2/3 chance of drawing it. Ooh, alright, that was brutal. I just banished all my 0-cost champions. Now this is Dark Draft. We just drafted. Remember, yeah. Alright, that's going to be a lot though, so I don't think we can take that. I am going to try and pull something a little. We're just going to hope they don't have Rage here. But I'm going to try this out. We're going to play. Well, I think is I almost definitely need to Apocalypse. So on my turn. So I guess I'm just going to chump this with my Jungle Queen. Like I could use Rift Summoner and make a demon token and then have a demon token block Kong and then break the demon token made by Loyalty 2 to make 2 demon tokens. So to answer your question, Cash, yeah, it doesn't have Blitz, yeah. So I could play it, but next turn I'd have to wait a turn for it to take that Soul Hunter. Alright, so here I'm just going to use this Wither to gain 4 health here. And let's toss this down and see if we get something. Alright, we did get Wolf's Bite. Let's see if that's relevant. So I could Wolf's Bite here just to gain 5 and recycle, so it'd be like playing it as a second wind, which isn't the worst thing. I think I'm going to do it since, well, I mean right now, let's see, I'm taking 5, 10, 11, 12, which puts me at 24, which is pretty high. I just really want that Erratic Research in my hand. Alright, I'll just take it. Right now, the plan is attack with Thought Plucker, and then play this Apocalypse. And then we have to deal with Soul Hunter, but aside from that, I think we're pretty home free right now. I think I probably would have attacked for 2 there with the Brand, but it's possible they were trying to play around like a Go Wild or something, or wondering why it took a while before passing. Are we playing? Oh, alright, they're just going to use their Pyromancer to get rid of that. So Pyromancer, you can spend your gold on the ability instead of instead of playing a card, basically. Alright, let's break all, and that's going to deal 5 to me. And normally what I would do here is actually pass. Sorry, they don't have their gold up. Never mind. Actually could have gotten Thought Plucker back. Oh well. That Soul Hunter is going to keep coming back. We do have a good stopgap for the Soul Hunter, which is we can chump with Rift Summoner, basically. So I'm going to play Rift Summoner and make 2 demons. I'm just going to reveal... We can reveal Corpse Taker and the Raxa. I don't want to reveal Raxa's Enforcer because it's the one that you can play the most around. It deals 3 damage to all the opponent's champions. And then... trying to figure out if I want to use this combat trick or not. If I want to hold on to it. We're just going to use it to make a demon token and recycle. We're going to play it as if it was a Word of Summon. Because instead of me breaking this demon token, so I made a mistake there. I should have played the Wolf's Bite, then played the Rax's Enforcer because I drew a Plentiful Debt that I would have preferred to play before playing the Rax's Enforcer. I mean the Rift Summoner. Alright. We're back in it. So, this Soul Hunter is going to make things a little tricky because it keeps coming back. But it's not too bad. Basically, you can play around Soul Hunter in a couple of ways. So you can race down your opponent and defeat them, or you can just play really wide and hope they don't have a way to clear the board. You can banish it from in play or from the discard pile. And the other option is you just attack with things or block with things that are smaller than Soul Hunter. So whenever Soul Hunter dies, it deals 5 damage to you, and it comes back into play every turn. So here, I'm just going to get in with these demon tokens. And if my opponent blocks a Soul Hunter, I'll break the demon token and make 2 demon tokens. Now this Worm Hatching, I don't think it's going to get any bigger. I think I took Worm Hatching and Cave Troll very early, and then you got no other wild support for it. So this is effectively a demon token to me. I'm going to be doing the same thing with Worm Hatching that I'm doing with these demon tokens. Now I could have tried to do something with Raxa and make these 6/6s, but I actually like this play better because it puts my opponent in a situation where they don't actually really want to block with Soul Hunter in the event that they have a gold cost way to get rid of my Rift Summoner. I mean, they would still want to block with it, but they wouldn't be able to block with it and then also have me lose 5 health. So right now I'm really winning this race. Alright, so I'm going to make that into 2 demons. And then I'm just going to start whacking my opponent with this Thought Plucker. I'm doing something a little risky here, but I think it's well worth it given my opponent only has 2 cards in hand. I'm going to final task this Thought Plucker, so it gains Blitz. That means that they discard a card and I draw a card, and then it can attack right away, and if it deals damage to them, the same thing will happen again. And then final task gets broken. It breaks the champion at the end of the turn. So it's like a 1-use Blitz champion. So they have to play whatever's in their hand. They definitely want to play it right now before they take the damage. It's probably a draw too. Alright, they can Hurricane to draw 2. Could have Hurricaned there for damage. I probably would have, well, yeah, I probably would have just played the Hurricane to deal 9 damage to everything. I know it seems a little strange, but this Thought Plucker dealing damage to them, they're going to discard one of the 2 that they drew. And then I will draw another card. So they do get an extra card in hand here, but they also have to deal with my board, which is with just their top decks, and that's not a good place to be. Plus, their Soul Hunter would die, so it would deal 5 damage to me and then come back into play again. Whereas, as it stands right now, it's going to attack and I'll block with probably a zombie token and not take any damage. I wonder if not Ben is Ben, or if they're actually not Ben. Alright, just gonna take the 6 here. I'm expecting some kind of board clear here, like break all effect or standalone. Standalone would be really strong because they could choose Blue Dragon. When I say expect, I mean not actually very likely. I mean, I should play as though that were going to happen because it's the way that my opponent comes back in this game. And the reason I'm not blocking with enough to break it is that when this breaks, I take damage, and it comes back every turn. Alright, they're going to lash. So I'm going to take 7. I'm actually just going to spend my gold early here to banish this lash. It is risky, but they only have a top deck right now, so the chance that this is a 1-cost card that punishes me, that it can't be stopped by 2 demon tokens, is very low. They'd have to have basically Djinn of Sands, exactly. They had Djinn of Sands right here. That's the 2 cards they drew were Lash and Djinn of Sands, and they win. Djinn of Sands would kill me because this ally ability would deal 2 damage to me. Alright, it's not Djinn of Sands. And pretty much everything else, you can just jump. Picks in the air. If you'd like, you can challenge me to consume Constructed. I just put something new together on stream just a bit ago, right before playing this game. So if you'd like, you can send me a challenge and play whatever you like. Alright, and then we win here. The opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, so they don't have any way to spend their gold. They don't have any cards in their discard pile, so they just have to take this. Alright. That's the game. I'm going to also show anyone who's watching this. I definitely suggest you go over to game options and you do a couple of things here. So what I do is I turn on attack separately and battle pass. So these are disabled by default because they can be confusing for new people, but basically attack battle pass means you can attack with something and click battle pass, and if your opponent doesn't do anything, then it'll skip over all the steps where it asks you to pass. So you can attack, and then basically if whatever the opponent would block with, you're fine with, then you can just click battle pass. And attack separately is the same thing as battle pass, but for multiple champions. And if your opponent stack cards, basically if you yeah, no worries, fixing the air. If you have a deck that you want me to tinker with, I can also do that on stream. You can just paste it in the chat. Stack cards, that's for tokens and other cards that you have a lot of. So if you have 10 zombie tokens, instead of having to tab through all of your cards in the lanes, you can just have a stack of 10 zombies. And it'll organize them by type. There's been a couple of times where I've used stack cards and the tokens don't move back to the exact same position. So it's currently listed as experimental because you might experience some weird positioning with your cards for your tokens if you use that. So I have that turned off. And then I also highly suggest turning up your animation speed. You can have it as low as you want or as high as you want. Generally speaking, I play with it pretty high up. Whatever you prefer, but I highly suggest going over the slower amount once you get a hang for the feel of the game. All right. All right, and I have a challenge from Darwin, so I'm going to play again. I'm going to play a. Oh yeah, HD art. It just the images are higher res. That's all. It just uses. You could actually, yeah, it just uses higher art. It doesn't. I mean, you don't really need to have high-end devices or PC. When it's saying high-end devices or PC, it means if you have an older mobile device, then you might have trouble. The app will take up more space because it will download the higher res images for the cards. That's all really. Yeah, the spoilers are going to be great. I'm really excited. I want to see what people think. All right, so I have a dark draft with Darwin, so I'm going to be playing that. But if you'd like, you can send me a challenge. Otherwise, I'm just going to be playing after this any other challenges and more quick match. And hopefully that we can get at least one game of that new constructed deck in. All right, so first pick, first pack. I mean, in general, I would say that Priestess of Angeline is pretty safe. It's a recycle zero-cost champion, so you can play it in any deck, and it lets you draw a card for 0. So that is already really powerful. But you need 2 cards in your discard pile to recycle. It also has this bonus effect of gaining you 3 health every time you play a good card that costs a gold. That being said, even if you don't get the second effect, just having this zero-cost champion that recycles will be good because you can use it to block a really big attack, basically. You're going to chomp with it, probably. So I'm almost definitely going to be taking this. The Silver Dragon is also a reasonable pick from this pack. So the Silver Dragon is a big airborne on-turn champion, and it draws you a card. So you can think of this like a different type of Triceratops. It fills very much the same role. It also lets you banish 3 tokens, which is pretty strong against... there are plenty of times your opponent will just randomly have tokens out from a Wave Transformation or a Raxus Curse or an Urgent Messengers that just happened earlier in the game, but the tokens haven't attacked yet. So you'll usually get to banish a token or 2. I'm going to take this. These other loyalty cards, none of them are so strong that I would take them here in first pick, first pack. I don't want to go into a color this early. And Darwin sent me this. Oh, okay, yeah, he's on. All right, yeah, we're gonna finish our draft with Darwin first, but I'll definitely play against you picks in the air. All right, so I'm gonna take Winter Fairy here. I think it's a very safe card in pretty much any deck. It's great on-turn play. So what you want in most decks is you want to have some kind of play to make on your own turn for your gold that you can play on an empty board. You don't need a lot of these. I wouldn't consider a Blitz champion with no other abilities like Rampaging Worm to be an establishing champion because you don't want to play Blitz champions while your opponent's gold is up. And there's a couple of exceptions, but unless you have really good read on your opponent, you don't want to be playing Blitz champions just into your opponent's gold. Then as far as the other cards go, Den Mother and Lord of the Arena are very, very different cards. I think I could go into good here and take Priestess of Angeline. I've played against Darwin. He likes to take really aggressive strategies, so going into good might actually be quite good for me. I think Den Mother in general is the stronger card here. I'm just going to go archetypal good because I assume that my opponent will be on the wild plan, and I want to take some healing and other health gain cards to avoid dying to lots of direct damage. Most streamers of the game play Dark Draft. I mean, I'll play some constructed. Here. Well, it looks like Darwin's not. It looks like Darwin may not be in right now. So I'll play this constructed game. I'm gonna use the deck that I put together. So actually, let me just go back and look through the deck list here that I just put together. This one's a little less common. It's not. It's definitely off meta. I just put it together based on a whim earlier today. But Soul Hunter is a card that we're building around basically. So when this is in your discard pile, it comes back into play, and you whenever it breaks, you deal 5 damage. So unlike most Soul Hunter decks, we don't ever want to play this card for a gold, if possible. Yeah, no, that's fine. I like constructed. If you'd like, do people in the chat, would you be interested in actually having the deck lists that I'm making? Or do you want to actually, I can put the code in, and then you can just put it right into your deck slots. Basically this deck, what it's trying to do is we are trying to draw a lot of cards and then discard the ones that do things in our discard pile. So Necrovirus, Ancient Chant, and Smash and Burn do something in the discard pile, and then we're otherwise mostly a very grindy deck, so we run one copy of Plentiful Dead. This isn't the kind of deck where you're just going to out of nowhere take your opponent out. It is the kind of deck that you will enjoy if you like having a lot of cards in your hand, and also just doing multiple things in a turn. With this deck, you'll probably be doing something like 5. There will be turns where you just play 5 cards, and you get to kind of chain effects together. Alright, yeah, so basically, you can export with this button right here, and import. Normally this happens behind the scenes, but if you want, you can also paste it in. Now it's going to be a long string. All right, I'm not sure if there's a better way to do this. I don't think I can actually send it. This is very long. It's a very long series of. It's like I forget how you call it. Maybe I can export game logs. Yeah, the file is held in. So if you're using Steam, you can. They're in the system. All right, I'm gonna figure out what the solution is for that to share that deck list at another time, so we can get into the game. I'm not sure right now what the best way to do that is. But basically, you can view the. I have the thing copied. I'm just not sure. I can't paste it into the chat very easily. So you can go into, if you're in Steam, right-click on the game in the Steam library, and then click on Show File Location, and the logs are in the same place as the game. Alright, so the enemy's going first. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to not hold on to these Angels of Death. They're very awkward in our opening hand. Misguided Herald's also awkward in our opening hand. It is a good on-turn play, which our deck doesn't have too many of, but we actually want an off-turn play. And then Amnesia and Flashfire both draw 2. So I'm just going to hold on to the Flashfire. I'm going to mulligan almost this entire hand. Alright. Yeah, I could probably put out an Epi-Epic. I haven't used Epi-Epic in a while. Let me see if there's a way for me to... Alright, while you're taking your turn, I'm going to see if I can... Let me see if I can just make a note for the stream, maybe. Yeah, Tom has a really good blog. I mean, there's some stuff on the Epic page directly. Otherwise, you can go to what are some other ones? There's a Spider Tank blog, which I think is Tom's. There's a different Tom Dixon, also has written some content for Epic, which is very good. And I'm trying to think, there's one other really big one that I'm trying to remember the name of, but yeah, I can't do it off the top of my head. There's a Discord, which is pretty active, so you can use the Discord to ask people for deck ideas or just talk about different cards. And then there's the Facebook page, which the fan page, in my opinion, has more going on as far as discussion goes. The regular page is also there's some discussion, but it's mostly just announcements. All right, so whenever your opponent passes to you on your opponent's turn, you should almost always take it. It's almost always correct to take it. So my opponent passed, so I'm starting my turn. They played Force Mage Apprentice and shot me with it. Now, Force Mage Apprentice is an interesting card. It is usually good to play your zero-cost champions to try to antagonize your opponent into spending their resource first. But unlike most zero-cost champions, Force Mage Apprentice isn't that threatening without... that's fair. Without playing another CH card, it'll just only do 2 damage a turn. So it's not that big of a clock. It's like Shadow Imp, but you're not returning it to hand. So anyway, I'm going to play this Misguided Herald here. It's definitely my best on-turn play. And I am going to grab the Gudgeon. That's probably one of the best things I could get because it draws me 2. And I probably should have played this Flash Fire first, but I got lucky and drew the Consume, which I'm going to play right now to get rid of that Force Mage Apprentice. But that was definitely a mistake. I should have played the Flash Fire first. I'm just also trying to explain things. Alright, but yeah, so basically on your turn, there will be a lot of times where you don't spend your gold first. Now, Citadel Scholar and Amnesia are both recycle cards. So we want to save those for when we have 2 cards in a discard pile to banish. And there's a good chance that the Amnesia will be used to draw 2 instead of to be the top ability. It kind of depends on whether we actually have something important to banish. And that's okay. I think a big thing for Epic that people have a hard time with is you can spend your gold to draw 2 cards, and that's perfectly fine. Drawing 2 cards is something you're going to do almost every game. I'm definitely just going to Flash Fire that, even though it kills my own Misguided Herald. Drawing 2 cards is something that you do every game. So in this situation, I have 4 cards in the discard pile. I'm just going to recycle twice. The reason that I'm doing this now is because when your opponent's really low on cards, then they're much more likely to want to play a recycle. So if Fellerin has a recycle card in hand right now, that's a dead card, and it's going to be very hard for him to find, or her to find more options if they have a recycle card in hand. But yeah, I mean, and I played the Citadel Scholar first, so every time I draw a card, this gets bigger. So the whole game plan with Citadel Scholar is that we're going to draw a lot of cards here, and it's going to get very big. So it's a 0-cost card that recycles as a threat. I think Amuse is very interesting, this card, in that on the surface, it looks like a really great card. If your opponent can't get rid of it, you draw a card every turn. So it is very good. If your opponent can't get rid of it, then it's going to draw you twice as many cards as you'd normally draw just from the turn. However, your opponent is always going to get a chance to interact with it because you need to play it on their turn, and it doesn't become active until your turn starts. So if people put answers in their deck to small health champions, then usually you'll get behind when the Muse is answered, because if I play Muse and you play a card that gets rid of Muse, then almost always it's going to be better for you than for me. Alright, it's very interesting. My opponent returning the Citadel Scholar to hand, I think I would usually, it makes it so that if I decide to play this, if I play this again later, I get to draw another card off of it, but it does slow down the attack. I'm going to play a Zombie Apocalypse here, just to break that. So I'm playing it as a Bitten. And then I'm just going to replay this and draw 2 more cards with the Gudgeon. I think in general you want to... Oh. No, actually, I think you made a good play there passing. No, you made a good play in passing. Oh, I see. You had a 0 cost to play, maybe? But actually, so in my opinion, playing Veldin, bouncing my thing, and then passing was a perfectly reasonable play. The reason it was reasonable was because you, if I spend my gold, then you can attack me after I spend my gold. So you can play it and bounce or not bounce my thing, and you put me in a position where if I just start my turn without spending my gold, that's actually probably good for you. It's not bad. That being said, I probably would have just played the Veldin and then passed without attacking or bouncing the Citadel Scholar. Yeah, you can keep running a bunch of muses, or you can try and bait out small removal. I think Tom Sorensen had this deck idea that had a ton of small champions in it. That way your opponent would run out of removal to get rid of it. Problem is though is that if you are playing a muse and your opponent plays a card that gets rid of your muse and gives them an advantage, then you're going to have a hard time coming back. So in this situation, right, imagine if you play muse and then I play Force Mage Apprentice. So I get to take out your muse, and now I have a threat in play that you need to answer. You don't need to answer it, but your future muses are now not relevant if Force Mage Apprentice is still on the board. Yeah, overloading Wither. I mean, he was just talking about Wither because he really likes Wither specifically. All right, so we have. Oh, we're gonna make a fancy play here. So it's the opponent's turn. All right, well then we're just gonna start our turn. You pretty much always want to just start your turn if your opponent passes. All right, we are gonna make a fancy play. We're going to play this Necromancer Lord and reanimate our opponent's Veldin to reveal 2 Sage cards. And then, yeah, so here I know that I'm just going to pass. Well, yeah, I'm just going to pass. So in this situation, Felrin wants to play the Helion, but if they do, then I can actually decide if I want to make attacks afterwards. So they play a Thought Plucker here. I'm just going to discard this Soul Hunter. And now I can attack with these champions. I didn't want to attack with Veldin and then have Felrin play Helion, reveal 2 Sage cards, and then gain control of my Citadel Scholar to block the Veldin. And if Felrin decided to just start their turn and not interact with my stuff, then I would effectively be giving up some damage, but I would be gaining gold advantage. So in Epic, there's actually a lot to be said for gold advantage. I think it's the most important resource is your gold. The cards in your hand, or at least the actions you have available to you, is also very important. So, and that depends more on what kind of deck you're running. A lot of the decks that I see have a lot of loyalty cards in them. So loyalty cards, you need to have a big enough hand to always have that loyalty option available to you. If a deck like a wild deck with Strafing Dragon, Brachiosaurus, Raging T-Rex, all those wild loyalty 2 cards, gets too carried away, then what ends up happening is if let's say they get to 3 or 4 cards in hand, and then you make them discard a card or 2, then they can just lose the ability to get loyalty 2 cards, and then all of their top decks aren't very useful. They need to sit there and draw more cards. You don't really want to be in a position where your only play to spend your gold on is to draw 2. Alright, so Thought Plucker did make me discard 2, but I did discard a Soul Hunter, which means this will be coming back into play. and an ancient chant. So if Felrin banishes my discard pile here, I'll get to draw a card from the ancient chant leaving, which is what happened. I haven't spent my gold yet. So I am probably just going to play this Crystal Golem here, which has a lot of synergy with the current situation, because I am going to immediately break it to draw 2, just in case there's a zombie apocalypse or something, and then return it to play, and then break it to draw 2 more. And that pumps up the Citadel Scholar, so now it has 10 offense, because I've drawn 5 cards this turn. I haven't spent my gold yet. And one thing we do have to look out for is Helion, which is the one that takes a champion. So I'm going to attack with this Citadel Scholar, and then we'll see what happens. If Veldin gets stolen for the turn and blocks, then I can pump. Then right now they'll bounce off of each other. Now that I've got these consumes, these will be used to get rid of that Thought Plucker. But we're just going to see what happens. If Helion comes down here and stops this attack for a turn, that's totally fine. I'll consume the Thought Plucker and then Final Task it to make the opponent discard 2 cards and me draw 2 cards. Otherwise, I'm just going to try and get in for 20 here. Alright, so that's going to block there. Now they might have a Wither or something that they really want to use on this, but I don't have any way to recycle, and it's definitely not worth spending my gold early just to make this survive. The fact that we are a 0 cost recycle, that is taking down a gold cost card, is very strong. And that's one of the power of this deck. So one of the reasons that we're running Citadel Scholar instead of one of the much more common meta Sage 0 cost cards is because of how big we can make it so easily. We don't mind drawing a million cards. We got Veldin coming in. Alright, so Drain Essence there is going to finish that off. Now this Necromancer Lord is very scary. Necromancer Lord needs to be dealt with eventually. And by eventually I mean pretty soon in general. Whenever you see a Necromancer Lord, this is an extra gold every turn and an extra card in hand every turn because it takes a champion that isn't in your hand and puts it into play. So if this is in play, then you definitely want to get rid of that ASAP. So we are going to finish that Thought Plucker off and then play Final Task on it, which will return to play with Blitz. Now we are just attritioning the opponent down here. This deck is pretty reasonable, I think, at trying to do a couple of things at the same time, so you can turn heal. Usually when I build the deck, I try to make it more mid-rangey so that you have options against different deck strategies. You're not putting all of your eggs in one basket, which is why I'm playing stuff like Drain Essence and Consume, because those cards are especially good against wild decks. But you know, against this deck I'm playing against, the health gain is not very relevant. This game is almost completely going to be about advantage and cards in hand. So I just have so many cards in hand. I'm going to play the Guild Demon and eat some champions, just because Zombie Apocalypse is the most likely answer to this entire board. Discard a maximum hand size. We're going to discard the Ancient Chants. So if my discard pile gets banished, I'll draw 2 cards because I draw a card when this leaves my discard pile. What do I mean by mid-range? I just use mid-range to refer to a deck that there's this old article and it refers to basically in most card games like this, one player is going to be the beatdown, which means that one person is the aggressor. They want to end the game sooner. And one player is the defender, and they want the game. They want the game to end, but they have an advantage if the game goes longer. And a lot of figuring out your game plan is, do I want the game to do it end sooner or go longer? And that depends a lot on your deck and what you have in your hand. So this deck is pretty reasonable at having some options for making the game go long. You're never going to run out of cards in your hand. But you also have plays that you can make, like Drain Essence, which if you don't need the health, you can still use it as a removal. So you can play this deck, you can play cards like Drain Essence more aggressively, where you just remove your opponent's champions so you can make attacks. Or you can play it more defensively, where you're just trying to get the most use out of the health gain. And the first two decks I played with, I should be taking my turn here. All right, let's just toss down this. We don't want to put too much stuff on the board because we're already so far. We've got something that's really scary as it stands. So I'm just going to crack the Crystal Golem right away and grab back Crystal Golem again and recrack it. So that if something comes down that clears the board, it just gets rid of it immediately. Sorry, so I just get the cards. I can't crack Crystal Golem if my opponent wipes the board. I can't draw the two in response. So anyway, what I'm getting at is those first two decks that I was playing, the super heavy wild one with some evil in it, and the Sage aggro deck, are both decks that can't do the long game. The second one didn't even have any real discard pile banishment in it. I think I played Keeper of Secrets, which is just banishes single cards, and it would run out of cards. It played cards like Vanishing that return cards to the opponent's hand and make you go lower on cards. So frequently I would end games with 2 cards in hand, but that means that you have to play as though the game isn't going to go very long. Alright, so we have lethal here. These Flash Fires deal 2 damage to each player. And that's going to be the game. But in this game, I was mostly concerned with card advantage. So I was just trying to make plays that I put some pressure on my opponent, and then I just took advantage of drawing cards. I didn't try to add more stuff to the board. In Epic, things get removed very easily. So you would definitely want to play around the fact that your opponent will probably clear the board at some point during the game. Anyway, thanks for playing, and Felrin, you'll be getting some gems for playing. And we're doing a promotion where if you play a game against me on stream, then you get 20 gems, which is enough for an arena run, or 100 if you win. Yeah, good game, Pix. You're very welcome. Alright, so I'm going to take... okay, so we just took these cards. Let's take probably the Hunting Pack. I think even though Surprise Attack sees a lot of play in Constructed, you don't want it in a deck without a high density of champions. So it's not a card that I think is very exciting. I will queue up another... I'll queue up another Constructed here. I mean, if anybody wants to play Constructed, they can challenge me. But I'll just keep playing with the same deck for now, since we've only gotten one game in with it, I think. I'm going to continue with this draft, and then... yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think that deck is... at the time that deck came out, I think you're talking about it was a Worlds one from 2019, I think. I mean, I don't know if that was exactly the one that you were playing, but it reminded me a lot of this deck that... No, sorry, not 2019, 2017. I'm not sure what year it was. Anyway, so what was really big at the time was these wild aggro decks. And people were worried about wild aggro decks. So everyone was tuning their decks to be wild aggro decks. There were wild decks that were being played with Spore Beasts, 3 of Spore Beasts, 3 of Hasty Retreat, because they wanted to They want to take care of opponents attacking wild champions. And oh, Veldin Beatdown. Right, I guess your deck had Veldin in it, yeah, so it wasn't the one that I'm thinking of. Anyway, I think Veldin is a tricky card. It's definitely something that it has a very high ceiling. It can be very, very powerful, but it's not a card that will always be that way. Sometimes what happens is your opponent's champions all do something when they come into play, and then you don't want to bounce those ones. So it's just a blitz champion. And I think in order to take advantage of it, you really want to put your opponent in a position where they want to spend their gold on your turn. Like that Muse and the Thought Pluckers, those are both intended to do that in that deck, I think. All right, so here, I think that Allosaurus is really good in general. It's just a fine card. It's nice to have 0-cost threats. All right, nice. I'm just gonna grab these two. Let's play that constructed game. All right, nice. Let's play some games. Honestly, constructed is my favorite, and that's just because I like brewing. Like building decks is probably one of my favorite things, and it's definitely some people like it a lot more than others. All right, so in general, as far as mulligans go in constructed, it depends a lot on your deck and what your game plan is. So you should be asking yourself, how do I usually win? Now, this deck is going to be a lot about attrition, which means just like with Soul Hunter, where we do the effect over and over again, and we're not going to be the beatdown almost ever. We want the game to go long so that we can take advantage of our effects that keep happening, like Soul Hunter, Necromancer Lord. Like that one game we just had, Necromancer Lord went really out of control, and it snowballed. So that's what this deck is doing, it's snowballing. And we're going to try and have that keep happening. In order to do that, we want effects like Thought Plucker, and we want to make sure that we have some option of drawing cards if we don't have a play to make. And then also we want to not have a 0-cost card. Sorry, we do want a 0-cost card that answers the opponent's play. So all in all, these first 3 cards are some of the best that we could ask for. I'm also going to keep Misguided Herald because it's a good on-turn play. Normally I would not keep it. And then between Smash and Burn and Ancient Chant, I'm going to keep the Smash and Burn. So these are both just draw 2s, basically. I could even toss the Smash and Burn and hold on to Flashfire and use this as my 1-up draw 2 in hand. It totally works either way. I just accepted the first challenge, I think. Let me just look here. Yeah, I think I accepted the first challenge, so I'll see if Court Jester, as long as Court Jester's here, I'm going to play against Court Jester first. Snowballed? Yeah, that's me. Alright, Worm Hatchling. Hopefully that other... yeah, that Necromancer Lord can get really out of control. Especially when you can play it on your opponent's turn. Which is kind of like what we're trying to do. Like I said, if you like those crazy plays that I probably should play the Flashfire. That's fine. If you like those crazy plays where you get to do 8 things in a row in one turn, then this deck is for you. That's what it's trying to do, basically. But it doesn't have that many recovery tools, so a lot of the game is going to be about sticking something. If you get put into a bad position too many times, there's not very many board clears. You have 1 Zombie Apocalypse, which is your only real off-turn board clear, and then you also have 3 Angels of Death, which is a great way to clear the board, but you can't play it off-turn unless you have a surprise attack. Alright, they're going to discard a Wolf's Bite. You might be up against some kind of wolf. It might be Wolf Traveler, it might just be... Alright, so I'm kind of considering just playing Smash and Burn on this before passing, because if my opponent discard a Wolf's Bite, that means they have a different 0-cost answer in their hand, for sure. I kind of like that play, honestly. Yeah, let's do it. I like this. We can't Misguide Herald into a lot of things because you don't have the evil loyalty for it. So I'm just going to assume that my opponent doesn't have a good way to remove my Thought Plucker at 6 defense. Thought Plucker is another good example of a snowball card. If this just keeps hitting your opponent, you get to draw more and more cards. And your opponent's going to keep discarding cards. And if they can't interfere with your plans because they're out of cards, the Necromancer Lord is just going to take over the game. Unfortunately, though, we don't have... our only off-turn play is Flash Fire to draw 2. Oh no, it's hunting back. Alright. I'm probably going to have to play this Flash Fire just to deal 2 damage to all champions. There's too many wolves. Alright, and then we're just going to hope to recycle into something. That's our plan. Alright, our plan failed. Alright. I hope that other person knows that I am playing this game, because I do feel a little bad that I think they said they were going to hide and mute me, and then I just accepted the most recent challenge, which was from Quartz Jester. Yeah, sorry. I just accepted the first challenge, and I didn't want to quit this game, but you're going to be next. I felt bad because you just said, "Oh, I'm going to mute you and hide you," and then I realized, "Oh yeah, I can't." All right, well, this game might be very quick anyway, so I'm definitely not going to block here, which means I'm taking... This is a very good attack by our opponent. They're attacking with both Breakthrough Champions as a group. This is an excellent play because it plays around 2 cards. It plays around me playing Ice Drake, which expends all of their champions. So if they attack with just one, I could expend the other one, and it wouldn't get to attack. It also plays around... man, there's another thing I was thinking of. Alright, well, I forget the other thing I was thinking of, but it plays around anything that expends both. So, Surprise Attack plus Frost Giant, or Entangling Vines. It also plays around just playing a big champion and blocking, because you're not going to play a big champion and block if it's bigger than 8. The only thing that would be bad to would be something like double Spike Trap, or Spike Trap plus Memory Spirit plus Spike Trap again. Alright, so we're just going to try and find an Angel of Death here, I think. So we're just going to Misguide Herald. We did not find Angel of Death. Normally a Necromancer Lord would be amazing, but we have no targets, so it doesn't do anything. And we could Crystal Golem and draw 2, and I think that's going to have to be the play, unfortunately. Alright. We're just going to pass. I don't think it's going to matter. But this Crystal Golem can block before drawing 2. In fact, if our opponent makes a play here to draw 2 cards, then I'll just crack the Crystal Golem right away. What we're really looking for is a Angel of Death in hand or in the top 5, because we're going to surprise attack and attempt to do the same thing again. But right now, we've got pretty much lethal staring us down. This is 10, that's 8, so right now there's 18 breakthrough. So if I block with just Misguide Herald, then I'm taking 16, which means I'm dead. So if I also block with Crystal Golem, then I take 12, which means I'm also dead. So we have to act when our opponent will probably group attack again. And what we want is for Crystal Golem to find us Zombie Apocalypse or Angel of Death in the top 2. That would do it for us. Or Angel of Death could be in the top 6 after that, because he'll draw a card off of Surprise Attack. And then our current plan is to Surprise Attack and put Misguide Herald into play, and then look at the top 5. So my guess is they were thinking about playing a card that would have a weak use here, like Drain Essencing that Misguide Herald. Something that they could do, but it means they'd really be locked into this play. Alright. I guess our other benefit to drawing 2 there would have been that we could discard Soul Hunter, but who knows. Now, they definitely don't want... Alright, they're good. They're making the right play here. So we definitely have to draw 2. Alright, so we didn't find it, so now we're going to dig some more, which means with Misguide Herald. We do get this effect, which is Smash and Burn from the discard pile. It's a little awkward here because we're gonna hit this for 6, and then we're gonna hope to get one of our deal 3s. All right, so we're gonna take the Thought Plucker. So now we need to, yeah, that's gonna be it, I think. 22 minus 5. Yeah, that's gonna be game. Good game, Court Gesture. And I mean, I think this is the power of Den Mother that I was talking about earlier, is that it's just very difficult to remove efficiently. So unlike most cards, this is a good card if you like having stuff on the board and not letting your opponent deal with it. If you like just having a threat always. When you play Den Mother, the wolves and the I mean, I'll toss everything in the way anyway, but it doesn't matter. If you play Den Mother, then they have to deal with 3 wolf tokens and the Den Mother, so they're not going to be able to play something like a Drain Essence that takes out the Den Mother and also leaves you with somewhat kind of advantage. Alright, so we're going first. We don't want this board clear in our hand, and we just want 1 draw 2. We're not going to hold on to the Necrovirus. It's kind of awkward. It's a lot harder to use than most plays. I'm just trying to figure out. I think we're just going to do that. Alright. A little risky, but I think that was the right play. Lead off with the Gudgeon. Always a safe start. Bye. Alright. So if you're still around, Cash, then we can play now. Otherwise, oh, okay, good. That's why you're saying bye for now. Alright, great. Yeah, that person's gonna be getting extra gems for beating me. It's always exciting. I like seeing people swing for the fences. That was an example of a situation where the opponent had to be aggressive and they were very aggressive. Alright, and the Gudgeon's a great safe play for decks that don't mind not being fast, because unlike something like T-Rex, this isn't a threat at all. It is usually going to block a big attack and draw you 2 cards on your own turn, but it is unblockable. So you can just annoy your opponent a little bit for a while. Now here, I could play something like this Crystal Golem, but it's much better for me to play this Drain Essence and get that off the board. Anything that has a recurring effect, it isn't just stats, is usually something you want to get rid of. So this is every time they play a wild card, they're going to deal 4 damage to a champion. It's not super scary in draft, but it is pretty scary in constructed, where they're probably going to activate it every turn. And we have a lot of small champions in the deck, so we want to get rid of that ASAP. Now, the Gudgeon makes you untargetable, which is really good against a lot of decks. So it's probably the most relevant part of the not tribute. I mean, it's more relevant than unblockable, so I'm trying to get out here. Because it means that they can't point direct damage spells at you, but they also can't banish your discard pile with Amnesia or I can't think of the other one for some reason right now. It's Heinous Feast, that's the one, and Erratic Research, and Grave Demon. All the cards that banish your entire discard pile target you, which means that if you have the Gudgeon in play, they can't do it. It also randomly nullifies some strategies. So it'll just hose things like Frost Titan or Ice Drake. They can't expend your side because you're untargetable. They can't play Scaros and shoot you for a bunch of damage because you're untargetable. They can still hit you with some things that just hit opponent's champions. So like this will hit us because it deals damage to all opposing champions. Now, they might not realize it, but because they're playing this on my turn, they don't need to give it Blitz. So they didn't need to reveal those 2 cards to give it Blitz, because when their turn starts, it can attack right away anyway. So I'm just going to pass here. I don't want to play this Citadel Scholar because it'll recycle and be a 1/2, and then it will die when this attacks. And this is almost definitely going to be blocked by the Guild Demon. So using Guild Demon for trading, just as like a makeshift deal 3 damage, is perfectly reasonable, and that's what we're going to use it for. Going to eat, I mean, probably that Ancient Chant. Can let them draw an extra card. Could be bad for us. I usually like to get rid of my opponent's Ancient Chants when I can if I'm on a strategy that involves making my opponent discard cards. Because you don't want to make your opponent discard a card and then have them recall Ancient Chant, since recalling Ancient Chant puts them up 2 cards in hand. So if I'm at 2 cards in hand right now, and I recall Ancient Chant to my hand and then draw another card, I'll have 4 afterwards. Whereas if you just play a draw 2, then you go up 1 card in hand. You start with 2 cards, one of those is Ancient Chant, you go to 3 cards in hand after the Ancient Chant finishes. So recalling Ancient Chant actually draws you more cards than playing it. It's very good against Sonic Assault and cards like Sonic Assault, Thought Blocker, that kind of thing. Alright, they're going to play that and pass. So whenever your opponent passes, it's usually a good idea to just start your turn, which is what we'll do. Alright. So let's do this. We're going to play the Citadel Scholar first. We might get something. I'm going to leave the champions so they can be final tasked or Necromancer Lorded. I am considering Amnesiaing just because it draws us more cards, and I think I will do it. We're going to make this nice and big on the first turn. Alright, we got a Wither, which is very nice. That's what we wanted to see. So when we play this Gudgeon, this will go up to 5. So we could surprise attack it out if we want to go up to 6. I think we're not going to do that. And the reason is we want to save the surprise attack for the smash and burn and for whatever we draw here. Should have played the Gudgeon first. Oh well. Now we got a nice 4/5 here, so they might Strafing Dragon it. That's the only thing that's sad about making that play. If they play Rain of Fire here, then they have to shoot themselves for 3. So that wouldn't be the end of the world, because we are untargetable. I mean, you have to choose as many targets as you can. So they have to be 3, 4, 5 if they want to do that. And holding on to the surprise attack might really pay off if we can surprise attack out this Necromancer Lord on our opponent's turn. That'll let us start the snowball. I think this deck kind of is accidentally a lot like Tom Sorensen's Weathering the Withers deck, where you end up playing so many small defense champions by accident that your opponent runs out of efficient answers for them. And it's, yeah. Alright, now comes Draka's Enforcer, double Rain of Fire. I think they're realizing that they would have to shoot themselves with the Rain of Fire. They're trying to target and realizing that they would have to shoot themselves. It's possible I just should have immediately Amnesia again to get this out of Rain of Fire range or Draka's Fire range. I'm not sure. I haven't played with Citadel Scholar and Constructed in a while. Alright, I'm just going to take the 7 here. No big deal. That's the nice thing about Battle Pass is I didn't have to pass twice, basically. And neither did my opponent. Looked like they also Battle Passed. Fiero. Hope I'm saying that right. Fajero. Could also be Fajero. That's fine. You can start the turn. What's also very nice about Citadel Scholar is it naturally gets bigger every turn because you draw a card. So now it's out of range. Alright. When our opponent discarded an ancient chant, I usually attack with my unblockable champion, my evasive champions first. So champions like the Gudgeon, which are unblockable. Champions like Airborne or other effects. Now, it is important if you have a champion that has an effect when it attacks, you almost always want to do that first, because your opponent doesn't get a chance to do anything until you attack with it. So if you don't attack with it first, then you're actually setting yourself up. Now the real question is, should I draw some cards here? Let's see if my opponent blocks. They are playing Sage cards, so they might be able to bounce my champion. If they can't, Smash and Burn gives it +7/+7, which would bring it up to what, 12? 12, 13? I guess it still has to calm. You get Amnesia and Smash and Burn. That would be pretty exciting. That'd just be 13 right there. But a lot of these decks also run stuff like Spore Beast. Yeah, I think I'm good. I think we're just gonna take our 5. We can race. Or Fiero. Yeah, Fiero seems right. I think it's Fiero. So one of the nice things about this deck is that we don't mind going over 7 cards in hand, because we're gonna get some value out of this Smash and Burn here by discarding it to maximum hand size. And now we can deal 6 with it. Oh, that's silly. This is like a free lightning strike that deals 6 instead of 5. All right, I could use it right now. In fact, I'm fine with taking this though. I don't want to spend my gold first since we have a nice lead in place. We are probably going to need one of those Drain Essences this game, though. I don't know how aggressive my opponent's deck is, but we banished 2 Gudgeons already, so this is our only remaining Gudgeon, which means we're going to be playing a game of the Gudgeon with Necromancer Lord. Just keep reanimating it, hopefully. What do we do next turn? Right now we're hitting them for 7, 8, and then we go to 11. Alright, they're going to Drain Essence. Alright, yeah, so our 0-cost card recycled and then dealt, I don't know, 7 damage? That was great value. We are going to play the surprise attack here. And I don't think we want to Necromancer Lord right now, unfortunately, because we don't have anything to really get back aside from the Citadel Scholar. So it's probably going to be Thought Plucker. I mean, Crystal Golem's especially good right now because they don't have any way to block it. And we can follow up with Angel of Death. But making the opponent discard cards is always very good. Well, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about both right now. Go for the Thought Plucker. And we are going to deal 6 to that from playing Express deck. So that way, whenever they're going to discard a card and then we'll Wither. Then we'll be in a great spot. What's funny is these are both unblockable, so if I wanted to, I could group attack with them. But I don't think it's worth playing around, I don't know, lying in wait. We'd be playing around either lying in wait or something strange. Some kind of, maybe Entangling Vines. But it's much better to play around Spike Trap. I usually only group attack when I'm pretty sure my opponent isn't playing Spike Trap or there's a good reason or if Spike Trap wouldn't affect my attack. But again, these are all very circumstantial. In the vast majority of cases, it won't matter which way you're attacking, which order you're attacking in. All right, and we're gonna play the Citadel Scholar. Ooh, rain! I completely forgot about that Rain of Fire, but that's fine. We are going to get it back. We baited our opponent out. Let's show not the Drain Essence, so that they play something into it, like a Draka or something. And then they have a lot of cards in their discard pile, so I do kind of want to banish the discard pile, but I think I'm going to wait until they play a Smash and Burn, or they are at 7 cards in hand. So when they get the extra card from Ancient Chant, they have to discard a card to it. It's going to be the play. Right now, that extra 6th card might be really relevant to their play next turn. All right, and look at this. We're getting our plans coming together. We have Soul Hunter in the discard pile. We are about to start going crazy. Now, Necromancer Lord can... Yep, there's Draka. See? That's why I didn't show the Drain Essence. All right. Get some value right now. All right, very nice. Drain Essence deals 9 and gains 9. So against Wilds, decks that play Draka is the best target you can hit with Drain Essence. It has 9 health, and your opponent, it's one of the few champions that players will frequently play before your gold is spent and attack you with, because it kills all of your small stuff. Alright, and we get our Soul Hunter back, so that's nice. I think what we do here is just pass. We don't have a good play to make. The opponent's going to start their turn and play Raging T-Rex, which is all part of our plan. They're going to start their turn and play Raging T-Rex, and then they'll draw 2. That'll put them at 7 cards in hand. Then we'll banish their discard pile and draw 2 or play Crystal Golem. We'll attack with Crystal Golem and Soul Hunter individually on our turn, and then break all with Angel of Death, dealing 5 damage with the Soul Hunter. Getting very much into an evil mindset when I play evil here. Not like these savages, dragons or something. Evil doesn't have dragons. Do we have any dragons in our deck? Yeah, like I was saying, dragons. Oh man. We have lots of humans in our deck. Alright, they're just gonna play Brachiosaurus. That is fine. How many? Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red cards in our discard pile. Sorry. Yeah. So this deals 6 damage right now. So we're so close to being able to take it out. Let's get in there for 5. All right. Shoot them for 5. Yeah, I think we'll just play Angel of Death here. Nothing. You don't need to do anything fancy. They will get to know about this Unquenchable Thirst, which is sad. But we are going to Amnesia them right away, so that since we have an extra Amnesia, and also because we want to play around them, banishing our discard pile with Amnesia. So that's why I'm just doing that right now. If you think that there's a time where if an opponent had a specific recycle card, now would be a really good time to play it, that's always a good time to banish their discard pile. And that's what our deck is. We're just basically playing a control game here. We're not going to beat them down, because faster than they're going to beat us down. All right, and they have Heinous Feast. They just Heinous Feasted right away because I revealed my Unquenchable Thirst, which will make your opponent do that to you. And also that Soul Hunter needed to go. But that's okay. Alright, Rain of Fire to draw 2, that's fine. So here, hopefully we can use our Crystal Golem to get in. They still have Raging T-Rex in hand, so they're probably, and 1 Rain of Fire. They're probably going to play, oh, no, they used it. They're probably going to play the Raging T-Rex and draw 2 cards. Alright, they're going to play Winged Death. Ooh. Alright. Get behind it. We have a pretty good play here. If this Angel of Death doesn't get banished, we can kill that with Unquenchable Thirst by drawing 2 with Zombie Apocalypse first. Oh yeah. No, what's very nice about this game is there aren't any responses. So when your opponent, when you do something, it just happens. So yeah, I'm just gonna draw 2 and then consume that. I mean, all right. We can just have our random value plays. When your opponent's discard pile is low, that's actually a very nice time to start getting in with Guilt Demon. All right. We're going to play on Lessons Learned there by getting rid of the Rain of Fire over the Heinous Feast. Most people don't play Unquenchable Thirst, and you need to be very evil heavy to play Unquenchable Thirst for value. You really want this to be doing at least 3 damage every time you play it. Alright. And then, yeah, we're just going to play this little game here. We're not really in any kind of rush. If we play this and our opponent plays the Draka's Enforcer, then we're actually going to have a hard time dealing with the Draka's Enforcer. So we want to bluff like we have a really good answer to everything. Alright. Opponent doesn't want to play into anything, so they're just going to start their turn. Of course, our hand is all card draw. So we wouldn't even have any answers anyway. But yeah, maybe they have a way to deal with this. Maybe they're going to play Pyrosaur right now, or Draka. We want right now. We want to start getting something going. We have a Thought Plucker, so I guess that's our game plan right now, is going to be use the Thought Plucker effectively. Like, you could probably make this deck a little bit different and play good instead of wild, and play Royal Escort, maybe Royal Escort and Second Wind, and gonna banish all probably. Alright, they're just gonna reveal 2 cards for Scaros to deal 2 damage to us and to each champion they have. So they have a Smash and Burn in hand. We're gonna probably try and hold on to this Amnesia if possible. And I don't have that many champions in my hand, so I'm actually just gonna surprise attack out this Thought Blocker. I don't like to hold on to surprise attack if I don't have many champions in my hand, because I don't want it to become a dead card. So it's better to just play it if in situations like this. Alright, so our turn's going to start here. And we're just going to get rid of this Smash and Burn right away, since we don't know if that's our opponent's plan to remove this Thought Blocker. And then I'm just going to leave as many evil cards as possible in the discard pile. Alright, we got some removal. This is going to be very good in this matchup. We want, because against wild decks, they tend to be very threat heavy. So what I mean by that is they play a lot of cards that if you don't get rid of them, they're going to end the game very quickly. So if you're not playing a threat heavy deck, then your answers, your cards that move their champions or gain you health or clear the board, are going to be stronger than usual. Those are the cards you're going to want to draw. Yeah, I very much like the nature of you have to plan for what your opponent what you think their best play will be. So once you attack, it's all up in the air, whatever your opponent is going to do about it. Yeah, all right, they're going to Drain Essence there. All right, so we are just going to play this. The one thing is, playing the Crystal Golem and then passing is weak to Pyrosaur and another Scaros, but I don't think they have it. I'm just going to toss this Crystal Golem out and pass. I think if they had it, they would have used the Pyrosaur to take out the Guilt Demon instead of using a Scaros, just for 2 cards. Usually when you play Scaros, you just reveal as many cards as you can, because it gets you deal damage to them too, so revealing 3 cards is like fireballing them. Dealing 3 more cards, I mean. So I'm just guessing that right now in their hand they have Raging T-Rex, Rain of Fire, and then 2 cards that aren't wild, and the card they just drew. That's my guess. So hopefully we can block and then just draw 2 off of this Crystal Golem. Alright, here comes down the Raging T-Rex. Alright, so they actually have Draka and a Scarlos in hand, which means they have Scarlos, Draka, Raging T-Rex, and a 4th card we don't know about, and a 5th card we don't know about. So I am going to block with this and break to draw 2. I want to find Angel of Death at this point, and I just did. So that's quite nice. It's possible that this will get raged, so if it does, I'm going to Necrovirus it so that I don't take 15. Alright, but they're not going to. And I will plop down this, well, I mean, I guess I could just draw 2 with the Ancient Chant, but let's just play the Crystal Golem. There's not really a very strong reason why I should do one or the other, except that maybe I get some kind of combination of cards that makes having the Crystal Golem in play better. I mean, I guess maybe it makes sense to play the Ancient Chant so that I have the Crystal Golem still in my hand. But we're going to do this anyway. I mean, if you're playing against a smart opponent, they won't spend their gold when you attack with Crystal Golem. They'll just block, and then you can break it to draw 2 cards. They won't spend their gold unless something really strange is happening. So we're just going to do that right now. So, for example, I could Final Task here, but I'm just not going to. We'll play this this Angel of Death to clear the board. And I don't want to reveal the Final Task because I don't want my opponent to banish my discard pile. So I am just going to reveal this Unquenchable Thirst they know about and this Necrovirus. And then we'll be passing. Right now we have 10 cards in hand, which means we're going to discard our 3 Ancient Chants, because we want to actually play this Necrovirus for its effect. This deck is so silly. I have 10 cards in hand. That's great. I played a draw 2 and I had 7 cards in hand. Alright, and there's Muse. So I'm just going to use Flash Fire since I think Wither is more valuable in general. It's possible that they're going to trick me now. They're going to play something that can deal 3 damage to this. I think that they're out of 1-cost plays to play off turn. Could be wrong. Alright. I guess they wanted to hold on to that wave of transformation. Alright. Let me discard some Ancient Chants. Yeah, one thing about playing asynchronous games is that right now, where there's no real timer, is that games of Epic can take, are often, they go back and forth so much they can just keep going. Not forever, really, but for a very long time, for sure. Alright, so let's see. They're going to play something that deals 2 damage to this, so Draka. They're going to play Draka right now. How many Gible cards do we have? We have 3 in the discard pile right now, so that means we have 4. We could deal 5 damage. That would put it at 4 health. So we could actually Wither Unquenchable Thirst, I think. Yeah, Wither would put it at 6, and then we could Unquenchable Thirst, banishing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the 5th one being the Wither. I actually like that play. And then we can play the Crystal Golem and start attacking. Alright, let's do that. I like that play. Boom, the power of unquenchable thirst. Get quenched. Thirst achieved. I'm just going to pass here so that way my opponent passes their turn ends. I'm playing this Crystal Golem during combat, I mean. So yeah, if they want to play something like Cave Troll, they can't see what my play is. They can't pass and then have me play something and then play the Cave Troll. So like if I wanted to play this Flash Fire right now, before my turn started, I would be able to, but they also are guaranteed to have played out any of the zeros they want to play out right now. Alright, so I'm going to start my turn. Alright. Playing Flash Fire right there would have actually been pretty reasonable. I'm not going to because it's not too unlikely that I end up playing an Angel of Death this turn. Or a Draka. Or Scaros. We'll see. Because if I final task this Draka, then I can just take out both of those. I'm probably going to final task this Thoughtblocker though. I think that's still our game plan. The opponent only has 3 cards. I only has 4 cards in hand. I just really want I really want something that banishes the discard pile. So even a Guilt Demon would be fantastic here. All right, that's fine though. We will. Yep, we're going to be playing this Flash Fire here. Get rid of that Fire Shaman. I didn't play it first just in case my opponent also had a Flash Fire. And then I'm going to be final tasking out this Thoughtblocker. Yeah, we're going to do that. Drawing back the Plentiful Dead. See what the opponent discards. And then just attacking with it. We are definitely grinding the opponent out here. Now it's very nice that they played this Cave Troll. I think our play ended up paying off. Because they played the Cave Troll here, now they if this was in their hand, they could discard it, and then the Cave Troll would be kind of the discard wouldn't be useful because they would discard the Cave Troll instead of a real card, and then they would just get this back the next time they played something. So this final task here is going to be pretty bonkers because we're playing the final task to draw 2 and make our opponent discard 2 and deal damage to them, unless they have basically 0 cost answer to it, like a Flash Fire or Flame Spike or something like that. Alright, and this is our only Plentiful Dead in the deck. The only reason that we run 1 is because it's not something that you want to see against every deck. And having 1 in your hand definitely changes your gameplays a lot, but having multiple in your hand makes your deck more consistent, less consistent. So a lot of decks I build, if they have enough evil cards in them, I'd say, you know, 20 or more 1-cost cards, then 1 Plentiful Dead can really complement your evil 1-cost cards, because if you happen to draw it, then it can do you a lot of work that game, but you don't have to worry about mixing up with your other draws. Alright, so here, this is an example of a situation where we don't really have a lot of... Oh, that's unfortunate. They just top decked the Wolf's Bite, so that means that if they had drawn it in these other 3, then they could have taken out the Thoughtblocker. Alright, so here it's just going to be Drain Essence. Even though it's not that valuable of a Drain Essence target, I mean, it just doesn't really make sense to... Oh, I see. I guess I could just take it. Well, I'm kind of already committed now. I'm just going to Drain Essence. Oh well, I kind of forgot that my opponent's gold was still up. Sometimes I do that when I am when I'm also explaining. Yeah, it is really. We're really holding each other off too. Yeah, It's true. It's actually kind of funny because what? I can't even view my opponent's deck anymore. They've just drawn all of their cards. All right. Yeah, that was definitely a mistake. I should have just taken the 5. I don't know why I did that. That is fine though. We are going to probably just misguide heralds and look for something. We want an Angel of Death probably would be the best thing for us to get. And we still have 2 in our deck, so we have a pretty high chance of just drawing a Angel of Death off the top here. All right, we got another Misguide Herald. We're going to keep looking. Well, we got a Necromancer Lord, which I think is definitely better than that Soul Hunter here. And we're just going to reveal the Plentiful Dead and the Necrovirus that we've already revealed to return a just draw 2, I think. Don't really want to get blown out. How many? Our opponent doesn't have has a Cave Troll in hand now, so we don't want to make them discard a card. I'm just going to draw 2 immediately and then pass. I know, this game has really been going. I mean, we haven't really done anything crazy either of us. We've just both been this has been a very fair game where we've just both played cards for their effects. Nothing has really taken the game away. So what's interesting about Fire Spirit is it deals 4 damage whenever you play a wild card that costs a gold, but that doesn't include spending your gold on things like 0-cost cards or Pyromancer or recalling, that kind of thing. Alright, so we're just going to pass here and then discard our Ancient Champ. 3 Ancient Champs in the discard pile. So if our discard pile ever gets banished, we'll just draw 3. That's true, yeah. I'm not sure what how this game is going to go. I mean, I think I'm in a good spot. I think that we are basically cards like this aren't really that scary because they don't threaten us and they don't get reusable value as far as doing something that's really threatening. They can remove the board, so things like Necromancer Lord don't get to stick around, but as long as you just put something in the way, like a zombie token, every turn, then it can't do any damage to you. And we're at a point where I'm not going to die. Usually this type of deck takes a lot of damage at the beginning of the game before it stabilizes. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think one of the crux of it is that you need to have some way to not die to fast cards. I mean, you could just beat each other down, but in an ideal world, the game would end very quickly. So in other words, once you achieved your win condition, you would just win. You wouldn't be like dirtling, which is basically what I'm doing right now. All right, we are going to try and go off again here with this Necromancer Lord. We're gonna do some nonsense. Reveal 2 cards, reanimate Necromancer Lord. Reanimate Crystal Golem. Could reanimate Misguide Herald, but I don't think we have anything really good to get anymore. Maybe Soul Hunter? No, we don't have any Soul Hunters left. Alright, Crystal Golem it is. Pass the box. I'm not even sure what my opponent reveals for that. They revealed Cave Troll, Draka's Enforcer. So yeah, they have Draka's Enforcer. No big deal. I mean, these two Misguided Heralds, I mean, these two Necromancer Lords, it's pretty much just remove these or the game's over because they just give you extra gold every turn for free. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to consume that so that another card doesn't get banished, I think. So it would have been correct to pass and then after combat play the Guilt Demon, but it's easy to not realize that you are attacking, that this is all just during a block, the breaking the Crystal Golem to draw 2. I'm taking 2 here. I mean, even if Drain Essence didn't exist, there'd still be... Yeah, it's true. Well, I think it's just a problem of the... it's just going to always be that case with gold being the way it works, where you get the same amount of resource every turn. Both players get the same amount of resource every turn, and they get that resource every game from the first turn onward. So if cards only cost 1 resource, then a natural consequence is that you'll have less decks that you'll have much more games where people are both playing cards that are on a similar power level throughout the entire game. They won't be I mean, you could make decks with things like Zombie Apocalypse, where what happens is the Zombie Apocalypse gets stronger the more the game goes on. But most people don't try to build decks like that because they're more combo-y. All right, I'm just looking through these discard piles. This game is ridiculous. All right, we are going to get Gudgeon. And then I don't even think I would want to find an Angel of Death. Like, I'd want to find a Gudgeon. Well, I'd want to find a I'm just trying to figure out what I'd even want. I think I'm just gonna Crystal Golem and draw 2 with that. So let's just get rid of that Fire Spirit right there immediately. And then I'll pass. And then once Fiero uses their gold, then I'll probably play the Citadel Scholar and draw 2 with Crystal Golem, bring this up to a 3/4, and then discard 2, discarding Smash and Burn and Necrovirus. No, you're good. You're good, Cash. We can just keep playing. If you're up for it. All right. Looks like they're just going to commit to the board. That is fine with me. It's very interesting how this player plays those huge. When they play Scaros, they only reveal the cards that do enough to remove the champions. I don't think I've ever played against someone who does that. You know, I think we're going to draw a lot of extra cards here. I think that's the plan. Actually, I kind of don't want to do that. I just want to play around Pyrosaur, dealing 4 damage to all my stuff. So I'm going to make my Citadel Scholar a 5 defense. And then discard 4, so that's going to be Smash and Burn, Necrovirus, and then we have Final Task, so we want, let's just get rid of these, like one of the Thought Pluckers and a Gudgeon. Maybe I should have, no, I still have misguided the discard pile. Yeah, I like these games. Honestly, I actually really enjoy long games because I feel like those are the most interesting, and you really get to see the back and forth. And when you play a long game, then the things that don't matter that much, the tiny little details, they start to really spring up. Like I don't need to block that really. I'd rather attack. I'm pretty safe health-wise. And if Yarrow banishes my discard pile, then I want to be able to have this die and then use it to as a final task target. All right, there's Kong. All right, let's see if the discard pile banishment also is in effect here. All right, so both the Necromancer Lords are still there, so our Necromancer Lords have not been removed effectively. And this is why. You can final task your Necromancer Lord back into play. And I'm just assuming here that that the opponent doesn't have any way to deal small damage to everything, because they would have just done that instead of removing both these Necromancer Lords individually. This is a final task one, so it doesn't need Blitz. I'll get back the other Necromancer Lord. And then I'll use this to get Misguide Heralds. Do we have a Thought? Let's get Thought Flicker. I mean, they have Cave Troll, but I think we can now whittle their hand down. I think we're in a safe spot to do that. Yeah. This is not a common board state, is what I'm getting at. That's the best part. Alright, I should have gotten the Gudgeon, that was a mistake. Now your discard pile can still be banished. But anyway, I'm just going to take this down. 3, 4, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Since the opponent almost definitely doesn't have any way to get rid of these. They could have Wither, but then they just can kill all of them. Not Wither. I don't know. I'm not sure what they could have that they wouldn't have used on these Necromancer Lords. So I'm just gonna group block to kill that. I could have a combat trick, I guess, like Rage. But then I'm happy to get that out of the hand since they're so low on cards. All right, so the original Necromancer Lord that was final task dies, but we can return it to play with the second Necromancer Lord. So now we just get to do some discussing things. Let's grab another Gudgeon. And then we're going to get in there for one with this Thoughtfucker. And currently our Citadel Scholar is sitting at a nice 8-9. Yeah. Yeah, so what happened last turn was we had 2 Necroviruses, which we banished both of to get 6 zombies. Alright, so this is our opponent's whole hand. Cave Troll, Brachiosaurus, plus whatever they draw. So Brachiosaurus can't be played off turn, and neither can Cave Troll. So unless they draw a 0-cost event right now, then we are free to do whatever we want on our turn. Always a dangerous thing to do in Epic is to show your entire hand. But I think they are in that position. Alright, so they're going to discard the Cave Troll. We're going to be banishing the discard pile at some point this turn. We're going to attack with our evasive champions. Here we want to... Ideally, we'd really like to get in with the Citadel Scholar. I think that's the game plan. So in order to do that, we can't really do that, I don't think. Alright, so we're just going to assume that we're not going to do that. I'm going to Drain Essence this really big thing that's in the air so that we can attack in the air some more. And then these zombies are probably going to get in because I don't think that Kong is going to not block. It's very unlikely that Kong doesn't block. I mean that Kong does block, because then it wouldn't be able to block Citadel Scholar. This is exactly what I'm talking about when I refer to snowballing. This is a perfect example. This game is a perfect example of what this deck tries to do if the game goes too long. Alright, so right now, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we can recycle twice and then Wither to take down that Kong. So I'll just play this Citadel Scholar for 1 recycle. And I'm just going to toss 2 amnesias back into the deck. And then we'll attack with this 10, 11, yeah. All right, I just want to make sure I'm counting correctly. Amnesia here, and we're just going to toss really any 2 cards. I mean, we have that Unquenchable Thirst coming up, so we just, but I don't really want to get rid of champions, so, or the Misguide Herald. Alright, and then we're going to Wither, which will give it -3 attack. So that'll take it out. And then here, I think we just end the turn. We could play another Citadel Scholar, but we have so much stuff on the board. We really don't need anything else. Alright, let's just hold on to this Thoughtfucker, I think, and the board clear and the Necromancer Lord, and then our answers. Alright, so we are pretty much in a position to win next turn if our opponent doesn't have a board clear. Alright, they lost their Cave Troll. It was banished with the Amnesia there. So at this point, it is do or die. They have to, yeah, that's going to be the game. Alright. Good game. Games, everyone. So, Fiero and Telrin, you'll be getting 20 gems, as well as Not Ben. And Quartz Jester will actually be getting 100 for beating me. So, no, you're good. You're good. Honestly, I don't mind playing. I like it's. I usually end around 10. Sometimes I end a little early. Sometimes I end a little late. So it's no big deal. And I hope that we had a good stream. I had a lot of fun playing Constructed. I think that's definitely my favorite. If you would like to see me explore a deck idea or a deck concept, you can email me a list, and I will, and I'll play with that, and I'll mix it up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes back to what I was trying to say at the beginning, where you're the beatdown, right? You have to kill me in order to win. You have to kill me before the game goes too long, because I just have so many tools to take advantage of long games. So I have this deck list, which I'm going to have to figure out how to post. I'm not sure. I mean, I can just toss it in. You should be able to watch it in videos, I think. But if not, then I can. Let me just see if I can. Yeah, just go straight to videos. It'll be available in videos probably as soon as I end the stream, yeah. Alright, anyway, I'm going to take this deck list. It's kind of cumbersome. I'm not sure if this is the best way to do it, but I wonder if there's a way to attach. Alright, let me just see if there's... Alright, I can... Huh. Yeah, I'm just not sure... I'm not sure how to do that. I'm just, I'm exploring. I'm... Alright, wait, so I can use... Can you see panels? I don't want to make it the title. That would be very long. I mean, I could just paste it in the chat. It's just, I mean, deck codes are long. Right now they're just base64 encoded strings, so it would be like 800 characters. Yeah, I haven't tried doing anything fancy like that. I just stream. Alright, well, I'll just post it in the chat, and then you can maybe copy it in, and if not, then I'll figure out another way. Maybe I can attach it. Yeah, they're very big. Oop. There really is no good way to do it because I can't do more than 500 characters. All right, I'll attach it to the video as a description later. So by tomorrow, at some point, I'll stick it in there, and you can view it that way. I'm not sure how to do it right now, but I'll figure that out for the next stream. So I'm going to be on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I'll be back on Friday at 8. Until then, good luck with your games.